such an asshole.
How you kids doing? All right, this is coming from a guy who, it's no offense to him, but he has no idea what he's doing because he's never bought or built a home before. And so he has a lot of innocent questions that he doesn't know. And so let's go over this. It's kind of a real basic 101 on buying and building homes so we don't make mistakes. Please keep identity private. Everything else is fair game. My dad gave me 1 acre of land located here. It doesn't matter where it is. As you can see, it's out in the middle of nowhere and has no utilities. Does have water rights. I think I have a 750 score. I have zero debt and own my car. Make $20 an hour, but I try to work enough overtime to bring 1,100 a week, but make no less than 800. Okay, so even overtime, 1,100 a week. Let's call it, what is that? That's what, about 60 grand? Let's just call it 1,000. Yeah, let's, with vacation, all that. So you're making $1,000 a week, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but let's just call, you make $50,000 a year, all right, which is median income in the United States, which isn't bad. It's fine. Is the best place for me to get a loan at my bank? It can be, all right, just like any other, cell phones or clothing stores. There are financial institutions that are competing to lend you money because they're going to make money off of the interest that they're going to charge you. You can go to your bank if you'd like. They might have a slightly better discount for you because you're already banking with them. But here, yeah, definitely pays to shop around. You could go to banks. You could go to credit unions. You might want to call a mortgage broker, but the mortgage broker, he or she doesn't actually represent a financial institution that's going to fund your loan. They are a brokerage. They have a bunch of different programs, banks, finance firms, lending firms, hedge funds, even at times. And they might be able to find you a pretty good deal, but you're also going to have to pay them. So there's some closing fees. And in other words, it's another person, there's added costs to the loan. But just like if you were shopping for a car, go and call around, find out what their interest rate is, what their closing costs are, and any other kind of fees that they got. All right. And so you should be able to, the two numbers is, what are my total closing fees? Like, how much do I got to pay when I sign? And what's your interest rate? And the interest rate, it'll slightly vary between different places. But it will vary depending on how long your mortgage is. I'm just going to assume at $50,000 a year, going to go with the traditional 30-year mortgage. They might come and say, well, for 15-year mortgage, the interest rate is lower and this is the payment. You're almost exclusively going to be going with 30-year mortgage. So that's your first, and you got homework. You got homework to do. And don't chintz on this homework. Do it because the better deal you get, the more money you're going to save for 30 years. One, if not the most important financial decision you're making right now. Will the bank also offer any type of grants to help get the land developed? They will. So you got, let's go on to the next issue you kind of bring up. You don't have a house, so you're going to have to build one. So typically what happens here is you got to find a financial institution, probably not a mortgage broker, but you can ask mortgage brokers if you like. But what you need first is a construction loan. And here's where you're probably going to want to go with your local bank or a credit union or other kind of boring old bank that you want. Not to say mortgage brokers don't do construction loans. I think some of them do. But the main reason that you're going to want to have a local bank do it is because in order to advance the funds, they got to send one of their guys out because you're pledging that property and the soon-to-be house as collateral. They got to go and make sure that the money they didn't lend out, that they paid your builders and your contractors and your plumbers, that they did their work. So now with it being new home construction, you probably have to go with your local bank or some other local bank that has people that they could send out to the property to go take a look. Will the bank also have any type of grants to help get the land developed? No, banks are not for profit. Banks are not nonprofit. Banks are for profit. Get out of this mentality that, oh, is there free money? No, there is not. No, that's your land. You build your house. Banks are going to, they don't get a grant. You get a loan that you get to pay back. And after the construction loan is done, they will roll it up into a traditional 30-year mortgage. So you have a mortgage payment like everybody else. But no, unless your land is, doesn't sound like you said it's on the middle of nowhere. There's some place, sometimes it's called these community development corporations. They're within cities and municipalities where there's an old rundown, I don't know, factory that's not being used anymore. And they might go get some kind of government grant or money to tear it down, take all the chemicals out, and then redevelop it into housing, safe housing for people. But usually that's in the cities. They're not going to do it for just one house in the middle of nowhere. Also am half black. I don't know if that helps. No, I know your entire environment has told you, like, oh my God, you're half black. Hallelujah. No one gives a shit. No, that doesn't, and that attitude's what's scaring me, dude. I know the Democrats and maybe your parents and the teachers, like, oh my God, you're black. You're amazing. Oh, and we're gonna give you help here if you vote this way. And it's the antithesis of Martin Luther King. Content of character, not color of skin. All right. Now, maybe in this particular town that you're living in, I won't mention it because you don't want me to, maybe the city is actually stupid enough to give you money because of the color of your skin, in which case you should absolutely take it. But I doubt it. But you got to get rid of this attitude. I'm black. Do I get any freebies? Let me tell you who gets freebies. Hot chicks with big tits. Are you a hot chick with big tits? No, you're a half black dude. You don't get no special treatment. All right. So if you're a hot chick with big tits, you might be able to find a guy to lend you money. You could go on OnlyFans. You're a half black dude. I don't know what the other half is, but you do not have big tits. All right. So no, probably not. You're going to have to pay for it. After I get approved for any type of, I mean, you have 750 score. That's pretty good, actually. After I get approved for any type of loans, can I submit them to you? No, you may not. I will not analyze your loans for you. But the main things you're going to be looking at is your interest rate, like your payment, which will be a derivative of your interest rate in the terms of your loan. Your interest rate, obviously you want that to be lower than higher. And closing costs, obviously you want that to be lower than higher as well. And shop around, man. Shop around. Take your time. You're in no rush. Then pay you more money to see if they're legit. No. I will tell you this: if they are under the FDIC, if they're lending you money, they are legitimate loans. They can't give you illegitimate loans. The federal government come crashing down on them real quick. And no, I'm not going to analyze your loans. Look, what will happen is you will go to the bank or the credit union and shop around, get a bunch of quotes. If they got a building, it says FDIC. I'm sure if they got a building, they're going to give you a real loan. It's not going to be a scam because you're the one taking money from them. If anything, you got to worry about the reverse. But no one's going to give you a fake loan. Thank you for your time. P.S. Let me know if I need to send you super chat, pay the money, and all that. So, all right. So that's kind of how the financing works. All right. What concerns me, and this is why I asked you, housing, just so you know, generally people are under the general assumption that, oh, I got to get a house because it's the American dream, and then I won't waste money on rent. While there's an element of that is no doubt true, whether or not you should buy a house is really more dependent upon where you are in life. And so I asked you some questions here. I have two questions. One, whether you're ready to build a house or not. And two, do you want to live there? And so I get a lot of people like, oh, should I buy a house? It's like, where are you in life? Are you in college? No, you should buy a house. You don't know if you're going to be there for a while. Are you going to be there for a while? You know you want to live there for the next 7 to 10 years or more. Okay, cool. Then maybe you get a house. What's the land like? See, now you got raw land. And you're right. You're going to have to get the utilities out there and everything. But I don't know, does it sit within a township? Does it sit within a town, a community or something? And do they have rules and laws. Like the first thing I would do before you start shopping around for mortgages is, well, let me take a look at this. Let me type this in, because if you're way the F out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to have to be off grid. So you're going to have to drill for a well. So you have to do some test drills, and heaven help you if you got granite underneath your property, because if you do, it's gosh, hundreds of dollars per foot to go through granite. I would find the next house nearby and almost talk to them like, hey, what do you think there's land? That, in other words, you got to find out whether you could even build a house on this property. Let me type out where this is. Huh? Just pulled it up. Where the hell is that? Wait, this is not it. This has you downtown. This has you in a town. You're not in hang on. GPS. GPS lookup. Let's look up GPS. Start. Maps. I don't want Google Satellite, Earth, and Maps. I just want to be able to type in the. Okay, here we go. All right. We're going to patch that in there. Paste. All right. Gonna delete that. Now I'm going to patch it in here. Paste. Your latitude and longitude. Let's get the address. I don't know if you're in the middle of nowhere, dude. You're in a city. This is correct. You're in a city to the northeast of a Walmart. So if this is correct and you are in the city, they probably have. It won't be that expensive, is what I'm saying, to run the utilities from the road that's just down the 50 yards from your house or on your property. And you might have to pay. It depends on what the city pays for and doesn't pay for. But you're going to have to get water, gas, and electric up there. You could get your own solar panels and not need electric. There's not a lot of rain where you are, so you can't do a rain collection system. You sure you gave me the right latitude, longitude? Because you said, let me double check. As you can see, it's on the middle of nowhere. I don't know. It doesn't. You must have given me the wrong. It's having you pop up in the city. But okay, so let's just assume you're out in the middle of nowhere. You're going to have to find out drilling a well, solar panels, or running electric out there. And then for heat, you can either run gas out there or you get yourself a wood burning stove. All right. And those are, either on, you're either on grid or off, and you can have a combination for all three: heat, electric, and water. So water could be pumped in from the city, like you'd be on the city water if there's a city nearby. Electric, you could do solar panels if you'd like, or have wire ran out. And then gas, you can have gas ran out there, but I don't know if there's any wood in your area either. I don't want to identify what state you're in. Not a lot of wood in that area. But a wood burning stove, and it's not that cold though either. So you could have electric heat as well, so you don't need gas. And if you got a good supply of wood, then you don't. I heated my house in Minnesota with wood. Still had gas as a backup. Mostly it was wood. So that's the first thing you got to figure out is if it even can be. Because if all of a sudden they start drilling some test holes on your property, and oh yeah, we ran into iron ore. Well, you're rich because you got iron, but we can't get to the water. So you got to first figure out whether you can feasibly build a house there. After you do that, then we go on to, should you build a house there? Where are you in life? And so when we go to the questions I ask, are you ready to build a house and do you want to live there? You say, yes, I want to live there. I'm also very interested in modular homes. Okay, cool. So that's that's an option. So if you are going to be in this area for the foreseeable future, and by foreseeable, I mean 7 plus years, and it's nearby where you work, you're not going to be commuting too far away. You can keep working your job. What's a modular home cost for a single guy like you? Cost of small modular home. Oh, yeah. I mean, some of these are fancier. Small modular homes, 120 to 270,000 average cost to build. Let's go mortgage calculator. Let's say it's 200,000, 30-year fixed at 8%. I'm using them. And you can use mortgage calculators online. So that's 1469 a month. All right. Let's just call it 1600 with taxes and insurance times 12. So that's 19,000. Yeah, I mean it's probably what you're paying in rent unless you live with your dad and got yourself a really good living situation. But I would say on the high end, you're going to be spending 20 grand a year on your mortgage and property taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you got a smaller one, like if you're just looking for a really small modular home, you could, they got them for 100,000. Let's say you just did $100,000 loan. Yeah, 734. Let's call that $900 a month. All right. And if you're not getting married anytime soon, you don't want to have kids. This is not the worst thing. Not the worst thing. So if the stars all align, you could get water, you could get electricity, you can get gas or some form of heat. It's not too far away from your work, and you could get a reasonably good loan. You're also going to have to talk to the bank, see if they do modular homes. See if the modular homes are, well, they got modular homes out where you are. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. And if you're going to be there for 7 plus years, yeah, statistically speaking, you come out financially ahead if you want to sell it. What I would recommend you do though is, since you're interested in modular homes and it's just you, I'm assuming it's just you don't need a big thing, because what's going to end up happening, you're either going to live in it forever or you're going to live in it, find a woman, and then you're going to want to have kids, or maybe you don't want to have kids. And if it's just a woman, she doesn't want to have kids, then you guys just live in that small little trailer. If you want to have kids, you're going to have to like get a bigger home. So I would not spend too much money on this modular home, right? Unless you saved up a lot of money, you're like, no, it's going to be my dream home and all that. I would still treat this as lodging, not your dream home. And depending on how much land you got, might be able to parcel it off down the road. Hang on. Where'd it go? Yes, you want to live there. Also very interested in modular homes. Yeah, I think you're good to go. I think you should. Now again, takes a lot of research. Okay. So first, make sure let's go over it again. All the stars, three of them must align. You can get your utilities out there. Figure out how much that's going to cost. You get a quote on a mortgage. Right? Shop around a little bit. And the other thing is you got to figure out what kind of modular home you want. So actually, I take that back. First, figure out if you can put the utilities out there. Second, find out what kind of modular home you want. So now you know how much you need to borrow to have it built and all that. And then third, go to the bank and say, okay, here's how much I need to put in utilities. Here's how much I need to build the modular home and have it installed and shipped out here. Give me your financing, packaging, and all that. Another thing, a lot of these modular home places, they might actually have financing themselves. And sometimes that's not the worst thing. Up here in the North, well, it's more in Minnesota, Wisconsin, they have this place called Wausau Homes. And I think they did their own financing, but they're like, no, we will ship it out and we will assemble it. So depending on the modular home you get, that modular home manufacturer, one, may just install it for you. And two, they may have financing options that beat what the mortgage, your banks might offer you. I would still shop around, still find out, but compare. If they're going to finance it at, mortgage rates look like they're at 8%. The modular home place are going to do it for 6.5 and save you some money. Go with them. And that's about it. That's about it. I'll tell you this though, ain't no one's going to help you, dude. Knock it off with, well, I'm black. Is that going to help? Stop being a white chick from the suburbs because you're not one. It's the only group of people ever get any help. Yeah, and otherwise, I don't know. That'd be kind of. I don't think I got the right GPS. I'm kind of curious in the area where you are, because I kind of like that area. But yeah, man, I would do it. All right, any super chats? We got 3. Drew, $2. The pandemic got me a 15-year 2.125 interest rate. What are you, military? How'd you get it that low? I'm at like 2.8. The GF is at 2.5. I thought we timed it beautifully. How'd you get 2.1? Nestor Toledo, 2 Canadian bucks. Love you, Cappy. No homo. That's right. Many straight men love me. Ryan W, $5. What's your opinion on boxable prefab? Oh, I don't know. Hang on. Let me look this up. What's a boxable prefab? Casitas? What's a casita? Casita. Tiny homes that fold. Casita. Here it is. Boxable casita. Oh, yeah. Is this kind of what I'm watching the video here. I'm liking the concept already. I'm liking the concept a lot. Looks like it's just like trailered out there and it unfolds. The issue is, how do you? Yeah, I like it. I like the idea, but you basically you're just going to install it once, unless they have pre-drilled holes for plumbing. Because how do you get the? This is kind of like those tough sheds that they have at Home Depot that you can go ahead and rip. But once you start drilling holes in them, can they be folded back up? I don't know. I like it. How much does it cost? Pre-order. Reserve today. $200 deposit. I don't know. No one's telling me. Yeah, I'm all for this like new age stuff where, okay, prefab home, modular homes. This looks interesting. There was another one. Oh, the Elon Musk was selling a home. Like, what didn't Amazon have one of these? You could buy a Sears and Robux home, and now you could get an Amazon home. Look, for bachelors and bachelorettes, that's all you need. It's really all you need. So I'm pretty sure he could get within $100,000 range the materials and everything that he needs just to sleep. And now he's got essentially a mortgage or rent under $1,000 a month. Nonstop Dre, $5. Why do you say buy a house if you will be there for 5 to 7 years as opposed to 10 plus years? Should bachelors buy land instead of a house to build a small home for self? The point with the 7 years is that's about the break-even point where you've come out of closing costs. You got to pay your realtors. Well, this guy won't even have a realtor now that I think about it. His dad just gave him the land, so he's just going to go straight to building. But usually you want to be there 7 years when you're buying an already existing home. Otherwise, you're losing out money on average on closing costs with realtors. But me more personally, the reasons I recommend you're going to be there for a while is so you're not wasting your time moving. So you're not, oh God, I gotta get another one. Now I gotta get another one. Now I gotta sell. Now I gotta pay. Like you guys should go and do your reconnaissance so that you build and buy a home once. And you never have to do it again. You never have to leave. This guy could be sitting in his place for the rest of his life. And think about how easy that's going to be for him. Now, I'm not saying don't travel. And this is why I strongly encourage you to do your reconnaissance in the United States, go and explore. But yeah, and then going forward for young men, especially ladies, I try to give you financial advice, but you don't want to hear it. So I don't know, go major and get a master's degree. But for young men, if you know where you want to live, don't let inflation eat away at the property of where you want to live. Go buy the property now. Even if you like, okay, you want to live in Tallahassee, Florida. So you find some acreage, you buy that acreage. You find out you don't really want to live on that side of Tallahassee. You'd rather live on the other side. Okay, at least you're in Tallahassee. So sell your land on the west side of Tallahassee and go build on the east side of Tallahassee. It immediately kind of inoculates you, ensures against inflation or real estate inflation. But that's what the number one. I mean, it's more important than going to college, I would almost say. And certainly more important than chasing girls is go travel and figure out where you want to live. Because, okay, there you go. I want to live in Flagstaff, Arizona. I traveled 2 years throughout the United States and I figured it out. I want to live in Boise, Idaho. Go buy the land now. You may not have money for a house. I can't afford a house. Well, can you afford 100,000? Can you whittle that away? All right, well, there you go. And then when you're 30 or saved up, I think the ideal place, the ideal world is you live at home until you're 25 and you work 2 full-time jobs and you make your bank. And maybe you take 2 weeks, and go do your reconnaissance and all that. And then all of a sudden you got this big ass wad of cash saved up and you pay cash for a house. You ain't got no mortgage. That's what I'd recommend. I can't wait. There'll be a whole generation of men with like these little bachelor huts and modular homes and boxable casitas and all these guys like, ew, you live in one of these. I always want to live in a Quonset hut. I thought living in a Quonset hut would be great. It still isn't the worst thing. I still think a Quonset hut would be kind of cool. Not a lot of windows involved in it, but like an insulated Quonset hut. I always thought that'd be kind of cool. Oh, you're not in whatever it's called. What do they name these developments? Water Park Way. Oh. All these guys be like, yeah, but I own like 5 acres of land. No, this is my house. No, you're not moving in. It's a 2-bedroom. I use one for my work office. This is you have your own place. Drew, $2. I got it through a flyer and he locked it in. Oh, good. Good. Christoph and on $2. Bought outright cash at 104,000, now 305. There you go. There you go, buddy. Just guys, go to college online. Unless you physically have to go to a college like trade school or engineering. Okay, I got it. Live at home. Save your money. Live at home until you're at least 22. All right. If you're going to college or trade school okay, fine. But once you get out of college or trade school, either at 20 or 22, you stick around till you're 25 with your folks. You beg and plead of them. You be very nice to your mother and you pick up after yourself and you just work. Work one daytime job and you work a nighttime job and you save your freaking money. And by the time you're 25, you're golden. You're golden. And then you're not one of these Zoomer millennial types. I can't afford a house. I'm like, yeah, but you afforded like 4 years partying at school, sipping espressos and having avocado and toast for 4 years, imagining you were some intellectual titan on a campus of, I don't know, Carleton College in Northfield. You thought you got to have that experience while all the working people had to work for you. Now you want a student loan bailout? No, you don't get a student loan bailout. You could pay off your student loans. You could work 2 jobs, and then you could have a house. But I don't want to work 2 jobs. Too bad, because you're not a white girl with big tits, and you can't go on OnlyFans to make a lot of money. So I guess you get to work. Yeah. Aww. Poor little 37-year-old guy. He's all sad. All right, link below. That's Pat Economics. I go into a lot of detail about housing. There's an entire chapter about housing. And then if you don't like reading books, which I understand, but it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more if you want to learn about housing, I have a course called The Dad You Never Had, because your dad should have taught you about housing, although your old man did pretty well by you. I mean, he gave you property. That's pretty cool, man. You got a pretty cool old man. Anyway, yeah, take that course. The dad you never had. We go into everything your dad should, including housing. All right, see you guys later, Toodles.